headlines of VTV News. 49th anniversary of Southern Liberation and Country Unification celebrated. Positive signal for Vietnam's economy, according to IMF. And later on in our world news, Houthis admit to attacking many ships in the Red Sea and Indian Ocean.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with Melina Pham, and here's the top news of the hour. 49 years ago, when the time for a general offensive against the last stronghold of the Saigon government arrived, the Politburo and the Party Central Committee decided to launch a strategic campaign named after President Ho Chi Minh. Thanks to a daring and well-organized strategy, at 11:30 a.m. on April the 30th, 1975, the liberation flag fluttered on the roof of the Independence Palace, the last stronghold of the Saigon government. This glorious victory affirmed the sound leadership of the party and was the pinnacle of Vietnam's military art. It was also the victory of Vietnamese bravery and wisdom, reflecting the power of national solidarity in the Ho Chi Minh era. The party and the Army of Vietnam were consistent in their goal of reunifying the country while being flexible about strategies. They combined revolutionary violence with political movements, seizing opportunities to launch offensives that changed the course of the war and laying the foundations for the final triumph.
The Politburo ordered the Vietnamese armed forces to carry out the military offensive in a swift, drastic, and unpredictable manner. The commander-in-chief sent a telegram to the Southern Front, urging all party members and soldiers to accelerate the fight. The capture of Buon Moth what paved the way for us to seize opportunities to liberate the South.
8 months earlier, the Politburo had been determined to liberate the South between 1975 and 1976. However, after several military campaigns in early 1975, realizing that the time was ripe, the Politburo and the Party Central Committees decided to liberate the South in April 1975.
The Politburo's decision to launch an offensive in the Central Highlands changed the course of the war. After liberating the 4 provinces of the Central Highlands, we coordinated with Military Region 5 to liberate the provinces of Ben Din, Phu Yen, and Con Hoa.
Meanwhile, in Hanoi, a public map was marked every day to represent the southern provinces and localities liberated by the Vietnamese armed forces. Truck drivers transporting troops and military supplies to the southern battlefield did so with joy and happiness.
The Politburo seized opportunities to deploy its troops to the southern battlefield, achieving a major breakthrough against the enemies. The glorious victory on April 30th, 1975, marked the end of our 30-year arduous war, resulting in the national reunification.
The glorious victory of the general offensive and uprising in 1975 is one of the greatest military feats of the 20th century. Thanks to strong national solidarity and great efforts, the Vietnamese people and soldiers fulfilled President Ho Chi Minh's desire to liberate the South and reunify the country. It has been 49 years since the 1975 Spring General Offensive and Uprising culminated in the historic victory of the Ho Chi Minh campaign, leading to the liberation and reunification of the country. Yet, there are still many who will never experience the joy of this great victory day.
50 years have elapsed, yet every time Mrs. Tu lights incense to her husband's grave, tears flow freely. Since 1967, she and Mr. Bùi Văn Huỳnh have not spent a single day together. On their wedding day, their unit came under enemy attacks, scattering them to battle. Little does she know their parting would become their farewell.
I had imagined that on our wedding day, once the enemy was vanquished, we would reunite. However, even in our independence and freedom, there are still losses.
In this room, Lai Kim Tui honors 44 people. Her father, 3 brothers, sister, husband, and 38 other soldiers. Upon the country unification, more than half had sacrificed their lives. On April 30th, 1975, she marched with the army towards the city center, brimming with joy mixed with a touch of sorrow.
The nation was liberated, yet the journey home was fraught with unbearable sorrow. Before the war, reunions filled with happiness were commonplace among brothers, families, and parents, but in the wake of war and sacrifice.
Returning to where 38 comrades lie, Mrs. Tui tenderly places offerings around the memorial stele, lighting incense to honor the heroic spirit of a fallen comrade.
Every January 13th, I must go here to honor their passing. These sacrifices don't deter people or family. They persist in their journey forward, striving to reclaim peace.
In the quest for independent peace, this woman bore the loss of her husband, father, brothers, and fallen comrades. Over 49 years, this land has repatriated 38 soldiers with some names remain blank. Their sacrifices are engraved in the soil, in the country history, immortalized by victories that will forever be celebrated.
Hanging the national flag during holidays has become a cherished tradition not only for the people of Ho Chi Minh City but for all. The radiant colors of the national flag on the anniversary of the April 30th victory carry a particular significance. It's more than just an expression of joy and respect for historical values. It's a symbol of continuity, ensuring that these values endure for generations to come.
As they chose to wear the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union uniform, these 2 young people walked through the colorful alleys adorned with national flags.
In 1975, our flag still bore red and blue, with blue symbolizing our longing for peace. These days hold immense value and emotion for us. It fills us with pride to declare that this day marks the unification of our beloved Vietnam.
Peace has brought us better living conditions today, along with more advanced education opportunities, enabling us to study and develop the country for the betterment of everyone's lives.
This alley is now adorned with the presence of the national flag in front of every house. It's the unity among neighborhood residents that not only enhances its beauty, but also a symbol of a peaceful and unified nation.
On April 30th, we saw the flag proudly waving in the alleys. It was a moment of immense pride for us all, hanging the national flag as a symbol of unity and the pride of the Vietnamese people on this day.
In every neighborhood, the vibrant display of the national flag stirs profound thoughts and emotions. This not only honors the nation's rich history and traditions, but also fosters a deeper connection between generations, instilling a sense of pride and national self-reliance in the simplest yet most profound way.
International Monetary Fund (IMF) has just released a report on the economic outlook for the Asia-Pacific region. In particular, this region's economy this year and in 2025 is estimated to have lower growth than last year, but there are still some economies with better growth, including Vietnam.
Last quarter, Vietnam's GDP increased by 5.66%, higher than the growth rate of the first quarter of all years from 2020 to present. Although lower than the average level before COVID-19 pandemic, it is a step to create good momentum for the whole year and the following years. This also reflects that the economy continues to be stable, inflation is under control, and major balances are guaranteed.
Exports growth was very strong, so that was very positive. And that is very supportive of continuing growth. But the domestic demand, like private consumption by families, was very weak. So that's a risk.
From the foundation of the Vietnam and United States Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, many large American corporations are researching expanding their supply chains in Vietnam. American companies are also particularly interested in exploiting Vietnam's potential in the fields of high-quality human resource training, semiconductors, and clean energy.
Vietnam already has a lot of generation of renewable, but needs to continue to invest on that and link it to the transmission line so that you can provide energy to all the business in the entire Vietnam, so you don't have problems like in the past.
To improve growth quality, some experts suggest that Vietnam should focus on fiscal policy, rather than focusing too much on monetary policy, and at the same time strengthen the capacity of the banking system to better monitor the financial situation of member businesses in both the public and private sectors.
The total foreign direct investment, or FDI, disbursed in Vietnam in the first 4 months of this year is expected to have reached $6.28 billion, up 7.4% year-on-year, the highest 4-month amount in the past 5 years, according to the General Statistics Office. The processing manufacturing sector saw the largest amount at $4.93 billion, accounting for 78.5% of the total FDI disbursed in the country in the period. It was followed by real estate business at $607.6 million, and production and distribution of electricity, gas, hot water, steam, and air conditioning at $259.8 million. According to the GSO, as of April the 20th, total FDI inflows in Vietnam had reached nearly $9.27 billion, a year-on-year rise of 4.5%. Vietnam's Business Environment Index, evaluated by the European Business Association in the first quarter, has reached its highest level in the past 3 years at 52.8 points. Investors are growing more confident and optimistic about Vietnam's commitment to sustainable growth goals. This underscores the need for prompt adjustments to our mechanisms and policies to facilitate favorable conditions for green and sustainable investment and production projects.
This road, built with recycled plastic waste since 2019, is part of Deep Sea Industrial Park's effort to create an eco-friendly industrial park model in Vietnam. However, due to its newness and lack of regulations, everything is currently on hold.
Because there's no building code, so we can do a trial road. But if I say now at Deep Sea, we build about 7 to 10 kilometers of road every year. So we should do this all the time. It's basically impossible because I can't get a construction permit for it.
Decree 35/2022 represents a significant advancement in regulatory mechanisms and policies. It defines investment types, legal frameworks, and criteria for establishing eco-industrial parks, providing a framework for industrial park management boards to advise provincial people's committees.
We suggest that the Ministry of Planning and Investment, along with relevant ministries, continue providing guidance on issuing legal documents specifying criteria, quantities, and regulations.
According to a recent report by the Association of Foreign Investment Enterprises, there's a projected 37% increase in total FDI capital in 2023 directed towards green and sustainable growth in developing countries.
Vietnam should continue on their path towards green transitioning. We have seen the announcement on COP. We all know that there has been made progress on the PDP-8.
Both European and Vietnamese businesses are now required to adhere to new green supply chain standards. The timely introduction of policy mechanisms concerning green and circular production will alleviate challenges for businesses.
The disbursement of public investment in the first 4 months of this year was estimated to meet 14.66% of the set target and 15.65% of the plan assigned by the Prime Minister, according to the Ministry of Finance. 7 ministries and central agencies in 35 localities posted estimated disbursement rates higher than the national average. The ministry said that although the disbursement rate of public investment in all fields is improving, there remain many obstacles hindering the disbursement progress, such as those related to key national projects. Many localities have yet to complete their detailed plans on the allocation of state budget to component projects in their localities. Coming up next, high risks of forest fire grip Vietnam. And tourist destinations attract visitors during the national holiday. You're watching VTV News. In the past week, forest fires have broken out across the country, even on islands like Phu Quy in Bình Thuận. The risk of forest fires is forecast to remain high. The Forest Protection Department assessed that the Northwest, Central Highlands, and Southern regions as places with a high risk of forest fire. There are up to 212 areas with a fire potential rated as dangerous and 119 areas with extremely dangerous risk of fire. People in those areas have been instructed to not use fire in or near the forests. Caring for and protecting the legal and legitimate rights and interests of workers is a priority task for authorities and business across the country. In Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province, a series of activities were organized to welcome May the Worker Month. Enterprises have built community areas in factories, ensuring spiritual life for workers. In order for workers to feel secure working in the factory and safe when going home, this is the content that the General Confederation of Labor is implementing across the country, with specific measures to build a safe environment and improve living quality for workers so that they can live peacefully, contribute to business, and develop the local and national economy. The Asia-Pacific region has witnessed the loss of over 300,000 hectares of mangrove forests, significantly impeding efforts towards climate change mitigation and adaptation in recent years. In response, Vietnam has implemented various initiatives aimed at emission reduction, such as programs dedicated to the preservation and cultivation of mangrove forests. These efforts not only foster sustainable livelihoods, but also serve to safeguard our environment.
Between March and August this year, a total of 70 hectares of land bordering the Bình Minh 3 dike in Kim Sơn district, Ninh Bình province, will undergo extensive mango tree planting. This area is one of the most vital sections of dikes within the province.
For the past 6 years, planting mangroves along Sewer Point TC11 of the Bình Minh 3 dike has posed significant challenges. However, the province is deploying solutions to establish soft dikes capable of disrupting currents.
Ninh Bình has maintained 18 kilometers of dike directly facing the sea without a protective mangrove forest system. In 2018, the combination of a severe storm and high tides led to these dikes overflowing. In addition to the 9 hectares planted locally last year, the initiative aimed at restoring and sustainably managing mangrove forests in the Red River Delta has facilitated the planting of 240 hectares in critical zones.
The tree is growing quite well. However, since the protective dike area faces the sea, additional solutions are needed. These solutions should ensure that when the water rises and recedes, any trash or dirt does not affect this mangrove system. Simultaneously, more research is necessary to help mangroves withstand harsh weather.
Locals have been actively engaged in both planting new forests and safeguarding existing ones. These efforts are vital for the sustainable harvesting of seafood resources.
Without mangroves, the waves would be much larger. It's crucial for me to stay vigilant and remind farmers that overexploitation will deplete the mangrove resources.
In Kim Sơn district, there are approximately 1,500 hectares of forest and coastal forestry land. Yet only 630 hectares are covered with mangroves. The province is implementing various programs to plant new trees and restore mangrove forests in the area.
After 4 months of implementing the low-emission rice cultivation model, the local authorities of Bình Hòa Commune, Krông Anna district can finally sell carbon credits from this area. Although not part of the government's 1 million hectare high-quality low-emission rice project, Đắk Lắk still hopes to convert local rice production towards green practices and emission reduction, creating additional value from selling carbon credits. The rice cultivation method is applied following the intermittent wet rice cultivation process. The expected yield is 11 tons per hectare. According to farmers, not only has the yield increased, but the costs have also decreased by about 15% compared to traditional cultivation methods. Notably, each hectare applying this model will generate 3 carbon credits purchased at $20 per credit, equivalent to over 1.5 million dong per hectare. A member of the Net Zero Carbon Thailand company has decided to purchase carbon credits from this locality without a third-party credit issuer. It is expected that Đắk Lắk will replicate this model during its summer-autumn crop. Now, on the 4th day of the April the 30th and May the 1st holidays, the heat wave continued across most of the country. However, there are still many tourists choosing to visit famous tourist destinations, especially areas with cool climates, unique landscapes, and culture.
Many tourists choose Tuyên Quang as a destination for short tours. It is estimated that Tuyên Quang province welcomed nearly 10,000 tourists on this occasion. The highlight is the International Hot Air Balloon Festival, brocade color performance, and discovery tour in Nha Hang and Lâm Bình districts.
During the 4-day holiday, Đồng Văn district Hà Giang welcomed a total of 1,989 tourist groups with over 20,000 visitors, including more than 7,000 international visitors. Famous tourist attractions attract a large number of visitors such as Lũng Cú National Flagpole, Dốc Thẩm Mã Stop, Vương Family Mansion, and Đồng Văn Town's Old Quarter area.
In Sơn La, the temperature in Mộc Châu is quite cool. The air is fresh and suitable for resort tourism. In the first 3 days of the holiday, this mountainous district welcomed 70,500 tourists to visit, experience, and relax.
The holiday is also a chance for Ninh Bình to organize many activities, cultural events, and attractive entertainment programs to celebrate 10th anniversary of Chang'an heritage, being recognized as a World Cultural and Natural Heritage. An estimated 30,000 visitors came to Chang'an in the first 3 days of the holiday. The management board starts selling tickets from 5:30 a.m., 1.5 hours earlier than usual. The work of ensuring security and environmental sanitation is always guaranteed to preserve the landscape of the world's cultural and natural heritage.
The number of tourists coming to ecotourism destinations in Thừa Thiên Huế increased 2 to 3 times compared to normal days. Visitors experience the fresh, pristine mountain scenery and enjoy cuisine with typical rustic dishes of the people.
Coming up next in our world news, Houthis admit to attacking many ships in the Red Sea and Indian Ocean. And conflicts overshadow global economy. WEF try to find solutions to global challenges. Houthi forces on Tuesday admitted to attacking many ships in the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean region, including 2 U.S. destroyers, the Cyclades ship and the MSC Orion ship. This force has conducted drone and missile attacks on shipping lanes over the past several months to show solidarity with Palestinians in the conflict with Israel in the Gaza Strip. For 2 days, a special meeting of the World Economic Forum took place in the Saudi Arabian capital, Riyadh. With the theme Global Collaboration, Growth and Energy for Development, the meeting was attended by more than 700 delegates from 92 countries to discuss solutions to promote equitable and inclusive growth. Notably, as conflict overshadows economic growth, the focus of this meeting is to find solutions to global challenges as geopolitical tensions are on the rise.
Amid the uncertainties of the global economy, especially the impact of geopolitical conflicts, the conflict in Gaza and the Middle East region's economy is one of the focuses of the special meeting.
That there's a proposal on the table. We hope that that proposal is sufficient for the ceasefire to come into place. But even if we have a ceasefire, we still have to deal with the repercussions of the conflict, not just in Gaza, but in the West Bank, beyond, in our region. We speak about impacts well beyond the current situations.
The conflict has also devastated infrastructure on a large scale and caused a serious humanitarian crisis in the region. Estimated losses in Gaza transport and telecommunication sectors due to Hamas-Israel conflict have exceeded $3 billion. Widespread conflicts also cause supply chain disruptions. According to Egyptian estimate, the Suez Canal's revenues in the beginning of 2024 has decreased by 50% compared to the same period last year due to escalating tensions in the Red Sea. This decrease will affect Egypt's foreign exchange earnings, thereby contributing to an increase in food and energy prices in the North African country.
It's very, very unfortunate to see loss of lives, wherever that is. Civilian lives are important, whether it is in Ukraine or in Palestine or elsewhere.
Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund's Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva emphasized weak by historical standards, global growth, and significant differences around the world as 2 very serious problems that need to be resolved immediately.
Microsoft will invest $1.7 billion in artificial intelligence and cloud computing technology in Indonesia to help develop AI infrastructure in this Southeast Asian country. This investment was just announced on Tuesday by Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella during a meeting with Indonesian President Joko Widodo in Jakarta. Microsoft will soon build data centers in Indonesia as well as help this country train hundreds of thousands of workers in the field of AI. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. See you again at 3 p.m. local time. Goodbye for now.